In this lecture, we are going to begin the next section of the course, which is on algorithmic trading. So just to tie this into what we have done so far, the last section was all about how to allocate a portfolio. The point of this is to select from multiple stocks such that we maximize return and minimize risk. At that point, we were already beyond asking the question, how do we forecast the stock price so that we can pick the best stock and make lots of money? In this section, we continue along this theme, but on a different axis. The previous section was all about which stocks to buy and in what proportions. This section is all about when to buy and also when to sell. So instead of considering assets, we now consider time. So let's do a short outline of this section. We're going to start by introducing a traditional approach called trend following. You may be surprised to see that this only depends on the simple moving average, which is a concept we discussed much earlier in the course. At that time, it was mostly just a stepping stone to the exponential moving average. But you'll see that this simple concept can be applied to trading as well. After this, we will take a machine learning-based approach where we attempt to use a machine learning model to predict whether tomorrow's return will be positive or negative. If tomorrow's return will be positive, then we would want to buy, and if we predict that it will be negative, then we would want to sell. Of course, if we could do this perfectly, then we would never lose any money, even on stocks that trend downward. The ultimate goal of our study in algorithmic trading is to get to Q-learning. Q-learning is an algorithm from the field of reinforcement learning. Reinforcement learning is kind of a tough subject, so it will not be discussed in this section. After this section, we will go through a brief introduction to Q-learning, at which point we will be ready to apply it to algorithmic trading. Once that's complete, we will return to algorithmic trading and apply the things we learned. We'll start by re-implementing the trend-following strategy, but using a reinforcement learning setup. This will help us understand the flow and design of a reinforcement learning program. We'll also be able to sanity check our code from this section to ensure that doing things both ways will give us the same answer. After that, we will be ready to implement Q-learning.